What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Steam Deck gameplay video for you guys today, and today we have some Dead Space Remake. Now, I was going to do Hogwarts today, but then I remembered only the people that bought the deluxe version can play today. I have to wait till tomorrow, as I am not going to pay extra money for a game I don't even know if I'm gonna like. Not after the Forspoken incident. That game was just trash. I'm still irritated about spending 70 bucks on it. And it's mostly just the principle. It's not a $70 game. I have no problem paying 70 bucks for a game when it's actually worth the price. But Forspoken, just to know, it was not. That's like $30 game tops. Like, unlikable main character, quite possibly, in my personal opinion, the most unlikable character I think I have ever played in a video game so far. Like, even the people, like the main characters of the Grand Theft Auto series, you know, sure, they might be fun and likable, but they're arguably terrible people, and even they are better people than that fucking bitch from Forspoken. God, I hated her so much. And I think that's the main thing. If you don't like the main character, it's gonna be really hard for you to enjoy the game. Unless you can, like, stop being the main character, you know? It's one of those games where you can pick someone else and be like, all right, no, fuck this guy, you're leader now. And then just never even use that bit. And that'd be one thing, but the whole thing focused on it the whole time, and it was like, what? So, I don't want Harry Potter to be the same thing. I don't even know, like, anything about it, other than people will call me a transphobe if I play it, but couldn't give a fuck less about that shit. I play games, don't give a flying shit what the person who created the fucking world thinks. Means nothing to me. Anyway, that's enough rambling on and on and on. Why don't we go ahead and see how Dead Space runs on this Steam Deck? So, for us to do that, we're gonna have to get him hooked up to our capture computer now, aren't we? So, we'll just do the usual. I'm gonna try to max it out, which is, as usual, probably going to go horribly. And then we'll go through all the settings, and then at the very end, we'll do my settings, along with some camera gameplay. So, without wasting any more time, let's go hop on into the game.
Well, alright. Let's try to look through these settings real quick here. We're going to be doing full screen and all that, 720p, no VSync. We're going to start off... Oh, well, we don't want that on. Let's see. Can we flip that over? There we go, TAA, that's what we want. We'll do FSR at the end. We don't need to be doing that right at the beginning. So, we'll try Ultra first. I doubt it's going to work, but it's always fun to try. So there we go, we've reached the bottom, so why don't we go ahead and hop on into the game now? Well, alright. We are in the game now, on Ultra, with the Steam Deck here. What the hell? What do we got here? Huh. Alright, wow, this thing's way longer than I thought it was going to be. Alright, well, I'll just read that later when I'm not making a video, alright? Alright, where do we go now? How do I get the fuck out of here? Ah, let me out. I'm trapped. Oh, nope, there we go. That's the way out. I figured that was the doorway to get out of the ship. That was just some random thing that opened when we crashed, I guess. So they're all waiting for me already, but screw that. Look around here. But yeah, as you can see, we do drop under 30 quite a bit on Ultra. And during the movie, it was dropping down into like the low like 20s and like under 20, like 18, 19. And then when we were doing the crashing into this fucking weird spaceship thing, it dropped all the way down to like 8. So this is definitely not what I would consider playable, but still wanted to try it anyway. So now why don't we go ahead and move on? All right, now we're going to put the settings down to high, which still probably is not going to work well on this thing. I'm willing to bet this thing's probably a mixture of medium and low more than anything, but still want to try it out. And now we've reached the bottom, so now let's go give it another shot, shall we? Well, alright, now we're just on high, so let's just walk around again in the same kind of area.
Be proud, champ. You gotta see her one piece.
And of course, just like with Monster Hunter Rise, I will come back and when we get a little further in the game just to test, just to see how the FPS is doing and like combat and all of that good stuff. This is just kind of a preliminary, how does it run? Because if it can't run well here just stepping out of the ship, we know fully well it's not going to run well later on in the game. That's kind of the way I saw it, and that's why I didn't bother to go anywhere else. Figured I can keep repeating this easily over and over again. And if it can't do this, it probably can't do anything else later either. But that's exactly why I do want to come back later and test out combat and test out if there's a little bit more intensive area than this later as well. Because who knows, my settings when we get to the end might not work great either when we get farther into the game. Who knows? All right, looks like we got to get scanned in here. All right, well, we're still dropping under 30 quite a bit here, but
stasis modules from acting chief engineer Jacob Temple. Location.
a lot of people might not care about that.
Employee not
I would like to stay at least at around 30. If it drops down to like 26, 27 every once in a blue moon, who cares? That's what my Elden Ring does too. And I played that a bunch on my Steam Deck. Oh, it looks like it did unlock. All right, well, let's get the fuck in there then. What do we got in here? What do we got? Do we have lights? Yes, we do. All right, though, let's move on. Well, now it's time to try out medium graphic settings, so let's just scroll through the settings again. Come to think of it, I don't really need to start all the way up there. There's almost nothing useful up there. I should just start over here, like at the anti-aliasing and variable rate shading and whatnot. Oh, well, I already started doing the other thing. It's going to be nearly impossible for me to get out of that rhythm already, but I'll try. Anyway, that is the bottom, so let's go see how medium fares. Well, all right, now we're going to try out medium. See how that does. And we're already dropping a little under 30, but not by too much. I think it, what was that, 28, 29? So not horrible. Oh, 26, 27, all right. It's about my limit.
See anyone in flight control? No, nobody.
I think I could still probably fiddle with some settings a little more. Or it could just need a little FSR. No matter what, like, I might even get to low and it might still not even be able to stay at 30. This game just might need FSR on this thing, unfortunately. I don't like using it, but I'd rather have the FPS and still be able to keep stuff cranked if I have to.
At least we
Use
didn't
it,
take
you
out
know?
the sun.
That's kind of what I do with DLSS too. It's like, all right, well, if the game's not running great, like no matter what, even at like high ultra settings, then might as well just turn on DLSS and keep those settings on, max settings, and
Let's get this done.
just turn on quality. I usually like quality balanced at the absolute limit. I don't generally like going any lower than that. That's just me though. Still, we're gonna go through all the different ones once we get to that stage. But for now, we're still going through the normal presets, so.
Welcome, Isaac Clarke, to the USG.
They are welcoming us to the freaking place. How nice of them. They're basically welcoming us to death. Welcome to Death Ship.
And stasis modules from acting chief engineer Jacob Temple. Location. Error. Employee not found.
I can't reach security.
Same for the chief engineer. What is wrong with their comms?
Oh, looks like I can get in there now. But it looks like I didn't notice that. Oh. There we go. Finally noticed it was open. I gotta get better at noticing those things. Alright, now we're in that big ass room, and now we can move on. Now let's go and do some low. So let's scroll through these settings again. Alright, and that is the bottom. So now, let's go see how it does in the game. Well, now let's get ourselves a little low gameplay in now. Around the same area. And now it looks like we're still dropping down to 25. So, still even on low. Can't stay above 30 all the time, and that's just right here. It'll surely fall once we get further into the game. So it looks like we're gonna have to use some FSR. And I'm gonna have to fiddle with the settings a little bit. For my settings. Well, always have to fiddle a little bit, but it's probably gonna take quite a bit of tinkering to figure out the correct settings for this game. It's probably gonna be a mixture of low and medium though. And a little FSR. Probably balanced. Well, I'm gonna try quality, but it'll probably have to be balanced.
At least we didn't take out the sun.
With 62 years of continuous service. It holds the record for the highest number of planet crashes.
May as well get signed in.
And counting. Whether you'll be joining us aboard the Ishimura.
All right, we've gotten to our little check-in area now. So now I guess I've got to get scanned so we can get into this area.
Concordance Extraction Corporation. Powering you.
Welcome, Isaac Clarke, to the USG Ishimura. Rig synced. Collect kinesis and stasis modules from Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple. Location? Error.
Yep,
Employee
we're
not
definitely gonna
found.
need some FSR. Oh well, no huge deal.
I can't reach security.
That does happen sometimes on the Steam Deck.
What is wrong with their comms?
It's a pretty powerful little handheld for how much it costs, but it's still not the most powerful handheld in the world, so sometimes it needs a little help. But now we're in this little room, so I guess we can go ahead and move on to the next graphics setting now. Well, more like FSR. Well, now we're gonna try a little FSR, so we will start out with FSR Quality and just work our way down to Ultra Performance, I believe is the last one on FSR 2.0. And besides that, I figured we'll just go with the medium preset for this particular little test. I think that'll be sufficient, since it wasn't getting even close to playable on high or ultra. Well now, here's some FSR gameplay here. We're on FSR Quality to start with the game on medium.
We came down hard.
Not a great start to our repair mission.
So let's see if we can stay above 30 the whole time now.
Standard procedure these days. We'll register them for flight.
Getting close to not sometimes, but so far so good. Oh, nope, there we go, 26. Nope, still can't.
You gotta see your one.
Not on quality, so I'm probably gonna have to turn it down to balanced. Oh well. Hopefully I can still make it look pretty acceptable. Although it's probably gonna look bad when I like blow it up and put it on 4K 60 FPS on YouTube, but it doesn't look bad on the actual Steam Deck screen, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
The Ishimura was the first planet cracker class vessel. and
At least we didn't take out the sun.
serving with 62 years of continuous service. It holds the record for the highest
Do a little moonwalking.
planet craft with
You gotta moonwalk every now and again.
highest dead weight of refined product.
May as well get signed
Man, this is a very CPU intensive game too. Like it just pushes the Steam Deck hard no matter what you do. That's okay though, as long as it's pretty. As far as the Steam Deck's concerned, it's not the most unoptimized game.
Welcome, Isaac Clarke, to
Hopefully
the
our
USG Ishimura.
other desktop PCs will also not have lots of stutter.
Rig synced. Collect kinesis and stasis modules.
And don't get me
from
wrong, this one still has a
Acting
little
Chief
bit, as you can
Engineer
see from the
Jacob
bottom
Temple.
frame time, but
Location?
could be way worse.
Employee
Especially
not
because we're
found.
not like V-synced and we're just like letting the frames
can't
go
reach
all over the
security.
place. Obviously, if we stuck the frames to 30 or whatever with the Steam Deck itself, it would probably be pretty much butter smooth. Well, as buttery smooth as 30 FPS can be anyway. I just mean there's not lots of frame drops and frame stutter. That's all I really mean by buttery smooth. I would still prefer 60 if I could have it, but I already know the Steam Deck ain't doing that on many AAA titles. Well now, let's move on to the next FSR setting, which is FSR 2.0 Balanced. And at least it's FSR 2.0. They didn't cheap out and just use 1.0. I hate when games do that nowadays. Anyway, though, that's the bottom, so let's go ahead and hop back into the game and see how Balanced does on media. So now let's see how FSR Balanced fares. Yep, we're dropping a teeny tiny bit, down 28, nothing too major though. Without an FPS counter, I doubt I would notice that.
standard procedure.
But over here, if I turn around, will it drop down to 26, 25 like it was doing before? Down to 29 again. No, that's not too bad.
You gotta see your one piece.
Still though, I would like it to always stay at 30, like basically the whole time if I can help it. So I will still probably have to mess with it a little because I'm not going to want to run FSR Performance. That's probably like 240p upscaled to 720p or something at that point, you know?
Isaac,
And no
guess
matter
I'm gonna
what,
go.
that's not going to look good. And at least me, I can only speak for myself, but I would rather the game still look halfway decent and be at like 30 FPS rather than be at 240p, like lowest graphics possible, looking like a PlayStation game just to get 40 to 50, maybe 60 every once in a while FPS in a game like this. That's just not my idea of a good time. But hey, that's the one thing I do like about the Steam Deck. It gives you the option. If you are somebody who wants to do that and don't give a fuck, boom, you can do it. It's not like the Steam Deck goes, nope, I'm a console. You're stuck with what you get, bitch. And at least those give you still options too now. It's not super old school days where it literally is, hey, this game's made 1080p, 30 FPS. That's what you're going to play it at. That's it. That's what it used to be like back on like the old school PS4 days and Xbox One days. But I think once they made the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, I think that's when they decided to make it so they have two settings, like a quality setting and like a performance setting. Could be wrong on that, but I think that's when I started noticing that. So, still better than nothing though. I'd prefer even more settings. But I don't think console guys would really appreciate being able to go through all the settings like PC. They'd rather just put the game in, play, or download the game, play. Set one of the two settings, go, you know? Anyway, though, we've got ourselves into this room here, so we'll walk around for a couple seconds here. Maybe come back up next to this dude. And now, let's move on. All right. Moving on down to FSR Performance. As you can see right there, we're keeping the game on medium, of course, to keep the tests all the same. So there we are. We've already gotten to the bottom since there's not that awful many settings to this game. And now we can go ahead and see how it does. Hopefully pretty good, but it's probably going to look like crap. All right, let's get some FSR Performance in now. And yeah, we're getting pretty decent FPS. But yeah, it doesn't look very good anymore. You can see lots of aliasing. And all the textures and stuff look pretty soft. So, not my idea of a good time, but hey, if you're someone who doesn't care, boom, you can get almost 40 FPS now.
You gotta see her in one piece.
Johnson might disagree. What? You're off in about the first round.
I wouldn't mind something to steady my nerves, especially on CEC's tab.
You see anyone in flight control?
No, nobody.
At least we didn't take out the sign.
A continuous service. It holds the record for the highest number of planet crafts, with 34 today, and highest dead weight of refined product.
May as well get signed in.
Trillion kilotons and counting.
All right, we're back into our security check-in area. Now we just have to wait for this silly door to open so we can get to our little light room, and then we'll move on to FSR Performance, or Ultra Performance, which is going to look even worse. And probably really not get us much more FPS. I feel at that point we're lowering the resolution so much that we're probably getting a huge CPU bottleneck at that point. I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. That is the next one we're doing after this before we do my settings. I'm kind of excited to see if I can get this to get a pretty constant 60 FPS. Or not 60, 30 FPS. 60 is never going to happen. Not unless, like I said, you make the game look like poop. And I don't want to make my game look like poop. But alright, why don't we now move on? Alright, now last up on the FSR, we're going to do Ultra Performance, which is probably going to look ultra insanely terrible, but we're going to do it anyway just to be thorough. We've done all the rest of the settings anyway, so why the hell not? So there we go, we've reached the bottom. So now, let's go hop into the game and see how bad this looks. Well, here we are. Let's get in some FSR Ultra Performance now. And yeah, as you can tell, it does not look good at all now. It kind of looks like Switch Edition. But let's be honest, the Switch could never get 52 FPS even with these graphics settings. It would be like probably still struggling to get 30 at this point.
Hello? Where is everybody? Half the shit must have heard that.
Because that thing's just not very powerful. Even their own games are starting to get held back, like Pokemon.
About the first round.
I wouldn't mind something to steady my nerves, especially
So they really need to update that thing. And no one's saying that it should be like a super 4K powerhouse machine, but just give us something. Make like a custom chip like the Steam Deck has or something, you know? Even make it, even if you like NVIDIA, stick with NVIDIA, you know? Get a freaking NVIDIA chip in there again. doesn't have to necessarily be one that everyone can get. Like in other stuff, they could just make a custom one. Like AMD had one made for the Steam Deck. I mean, if Valve has enough money to do it, you know Nintendo could. But they're probably used to, or mostly about nickel and diamond. They didn't get to be super rich by, you know, spending the most absorbent amount of money. But they always have been pretty innovative. They just never been about graphics, really. Except in the Nintendo 64 days, they kind of went hard on the 64-bit graphics back then. And they even had like an extra little memory unit you could get, because you had to get that to play like Majora's Mask and shit. Very interesting.
Collect kinesis and stasis modules from
Still though, I think I had the most
Chief
fun on the
Engineer
PlayStation back
Jacob
then,
Temple.
for that era.
Location,
That's just me.
employee not found.
Aw shit, we hit 61 FPS for a second there,
Same for the
64.
chief engineer.
If I just stare at this fucking wall. There we go. They let me in finally. But alright though, why don't we go ahead and move on to my settings now? Well now, we're going to do my settings now. We're going to limit the game on the Steam Deck to 30 FPS. So let's back out of that now. Now let's look at the settings I've chosen. Now I didn't want to do variable rate shading and FSR, so I left the variable rate shading off and we went with a balanced FSR 2.0, medium light, low shadow, medium reflection, medium volumetric resolution, and SSO, ambient occlusion, and then depth of field quality can also be on low. So, to the game. Alright, let's get some of my settings gameplay in now.
Crap, we came down hard.
Not a great start to our repair mission.
I think mine look pretty decent. Not the highest quality in the universe, but not horrible either. And we seem to be staying right at around 30 barely. Still hitting 90 in the 90s of utilization, so there might be a part here and there where we drop down to 27, 28, but we'll see. Let's look back at this ship here. Once we get a little farther, that's one place I noticed where it was dropping. Oh, there we go. See, it did drop down to 29, but big whoop. Would we have noticed that without all this, without the settings screen up there? I don't think so. So there are some people that are super susceptible to every small little flame drop. But I have to wonder if those people would even be interested in a Steam Deck, but hey, who knows?
At least we can
Everyone's
take out
welcome
the
to get
sun.
whatever the hell they want, after all. But yeah, see how smooth this is now? Truth be told, if the laptop does end up being kind of laggy, it's probably because it's got that 300 hertz screen, and if I undo the FPS cap, it'll probably be like, what the fuck are you doing? So, hopefully I remember to mention at the end of that video, if it does end up being kind of stuttery and laggy, just being like, maybe limit it to 60 FPS or something. Or 100 or something.
Isaac Clarke to the USG Ishimura.
Because I was seeing lots of videos before of people having performance issues. But I mean, yeah, the Steam Deck's not playing it at super high graphics settings right now, but if it can get this smooth at 30, and it's quite a bit weaker than my laptop, so my laptop should be able to get 60-ish.
I can't reach the
Probably not
Same for the
hundreds
chief engineer.
with decent
What
graphics,
is
but at
wrong
least
with
60-ish.
problems?
That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But that is the next thing we're going to move on to after we're done with the Steam Deck, so you will not have to wait too long. I'm just going to upload these videos as soon as they're available. I'm not going to sit here and make you guys wait until the end of the month or whatever. By the end of the month, then no one will care about these games anymore. Everybody would have just taken their chances and being like, all right, fuck it, I can't wait for him to get done with these videos. I'm just going to see for myself or go somewhere else, you know? Anyway, let's move on to camera.
Well, alright guys, let's get a little camera gameplay in here. Same settings I had before, just my settings. Kinda had to go with a 30 FPS cap for this game. And I had to incorporate FSR. Even low dropped under 30 a bunch. And this still does every once in a blue moon. At least here, and it might drop way crazy amounts later on in the game. I just figured, once I got here and started already dropping like crazy, I was like, well shit, if it can't even do the beginning little area here and stay over 30 FPS, it has no hope anywhere else in the game, is kinda how I thought.
Isaac.
I'm coming. I'm busy making YouTube videos, lady.
At least we didn't take out the sun.
What if they did take out the sign? Then what would we have done? Then I guess we could have sung that I Saw the Sign song.
May as well get signed in.
Yep, this game is definitely pushing the Steam Deck to its limits, as you can see by all the numbers here. But it is a pretty damn nice looking game, even if with FSR balanced on and just on medium-low settings.
Rig synced. Collect kinesis and stasis modules from Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple.
Well, where in the fuck is he?
Error. Employee not
There's
found.
always an error. Stop with your errors and let me in. Let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. There we go. Oh, there's another one of these now, huh? I shall read those later, though.
Someone left in a hurry.
They sure did. They sure did.
Where's the security detail? Where's anybody?
There's nothing lost.
Connection lost.
For God's sake.
But yeah, just in the...
Security console still.
Just from what I've seen online and what I remember from the original Dead Space, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm probably going to have a bunch more fun with this than I did with Castillo Protocol. Not that that game was completely awful, but it just felt a little lame compared to some of the other Dead Spaces. Still had some fun with it, though. Oops, I can go in here now. Oh, there's a little stutter.
What have you got?
Shit. It's not just comms from the guidance system. Half the Ishimura's in the red. Engines, hull, trams.
Okay, that's the power. Ventilation's up. Power to the elevator.
Positive anomaly detected.
Uh-oh.
Gene activated.
Another malfunction?
No. The quarantine systems are all fine.
Wait, you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Take it easy. Daniel's
Well, aw shit. Looks like all shit hell is about to break loose. Aw shoot.
Daniel, get the doors open.
Get out of there!
Where the fuck I go? Fuck. How do you run? Ah, here we go. We must flee, or they'll surely eat me. Jeez. Hey, fuck you. That's right, get chopped by a fucking door, bitch. Well, now we're covered in his blood. Anyway, though, I think that is probably a good time to end, since we've got a lot more footage than we normally do, because we had FSR and all that other stuff, so this is probably already going to be like a 30-minute video, but that's okay.
So, let's go wrap it up. Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Dead Space Remake, on the Steam Deck anyway. And after we messed around with my settings, it became very playable. None of the presets really work very well. Besides auto. I tried auto a little off camera, and that seemed to be pretty good. I pretty much just, after looking back at it, I pretty much just copied autos for mine. For my settings only, I dropped shadows down one more. Because we're on a damn ship, and it with pretty much just fire and nothingness anyway. Shadows are going to be almost impossible to see anyway. So who cares what they really look like? And shadows almost always give you a good bump in performance if you just turn them down a little bit. Same thing with lighting. But with my settings, we were at a pretty constant 30. As you saw though, when all shit hit the fan and like when the door closed, when I first walked into that little room, it dropped down to like 25 for a second. But beyond stuff like that, it seems pretty smooth the majority of the time. I was pretty impressed. I figured it was still going to be kind of a stutter fest, but kind of glad I waited to play a little bit, just like with Castillo Protocol. But anyway though, that's all I got for you guys for this particular video. So now it's time for me to go move on and do the Asus G15 Advantage. I figure for that I'll do 1080p and 1440p, then move on to the desktops. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out guys.